Do you ever wonder why getting remarried after the age of 70 sometimes leads to more regret than joy? If you find yourself over 70 and contemplating the idea of tying the knot again, this video could be one of the most crucial things you watch today. Initially, the thought of remarriage may feel like a wonderful second chance at happiness. But what if I told you that for numerous older adults, it often turns into a source of stress, loss, and regret? The reality is that once you step into your 70s, the dynamics around remarriage undergo a significant shift. What might have once seemed like love can quickly morph into financial difficulties, emotional struggles, or even legal headaches. Now, let me clarify. This isn't about casting a negative light on love or being cynical. Rather, it's about exercising wisdom, being prepared, and safeguarding the life you've spent years building. Perhaps you're feeling pressured by someone to remarry, or maybe you're just feeling lonely and yearning for companionship. Those feelings are entirely valid. But before you take that walk down the aisle again, it's essential that you listen to these truths that far too many seniors discover when it's already too late. This video isn't meant to scare you. It's designed to equip you with the information you need to make thoughtful, informed decisions about your future. So, if you've ever pondered whether marrying again in your later years is a smart choice, stick around. The last reason we discuss might completely alter how you perceive love, trust, and independence after the age of 70. Let's dive into the first point: financial vulnerability. At first glance, finding love in your 70s can seem like a true blessing, a partner to share your thoughts with, enjoy meals together, and cherish those quiet moments. However, many older adults are unaware that remarriage at this stage can unravel the financial safety net they've spent decades building much quicker than they'd expect. Think about it. You've dedicated your life to accumulating your nest egg, savings, pensions, and maybe even your home. Yet with just one legal signature, one trip down the aisle, all that hard work can suddenly be at risk, not because your new partner has ill intentions, but because marriage legally binds your assets together. If your new spouse has medical debts or children from a previous relationship with their own expectations, you find yourself entangled in their financial affairs, whether you like it or not. Many seniors enter into remarriage under the impression that they can keep their finances separate. Unfortunately, that's often not how the law operates. After you remarry, you could lose your eligibility for certain retirement benefits, survivor benefits, or even Medicaid programs. I've seen cases where a woman lost the Social Security benefits she was receiving from her deceased husband after getting remarried, leaving her with significantly less monthly income than she had anticipated. And tragically, she didn't realize the consequences until her checks stopped coming. Then consider the impact on inheritance. If you have adult children or grandchildren, you likely have plans to leave something behind for them. But if you remarry without proper legal safeguards, those assets could end up redirected to your new spouse or their family. Even if you trust your new partner implicitly, relationships can change, families can clash, and promises can break. Before you know it, your legacy can slip right through your fingers. The psychological impacts of such financial losses can be severe. Seniors who feel financially insecure can start to feel powerless, anxious, and even ashamed. They might shy away from discussing their situation with their children out of embarrassment or, even worse, try to hide the truth completely. The independence they've fought so hard to maintain begins to deteriorate, and the marriage that was supposed to bring happiness becomes a daily reminder of what they've lost. Let's take Ellen's story as an example. At 74, she remarried a kind man she met through her church group. Both were widowed and found solace in one another's company. But Ellen didn't realize that her new husband was carrying significant medical debt and had no savings. Within 2 years, she was tapping into her retirement fund to help him stay afloat, leaving her children devastated. When they discovered she had altered her will under pressure, what began as love spiraled into a state of quiet financial panic. When you reach your 70s, achieving financial stability isn't merely about having enough money. It's about peace of mind, dignity, and the power to live life on your own terms. While remarriage might initially offer emotional comfort, the resulting financial repercussions can be overwhelming. If you've managed to reach this point in your life with a stable home, nourishing food, and a future plan, take a moment to breathe before you decide to walk down the aisle again. Your heart might be saying yes, but ensure that your wallet isn't crying out for caution. Now, let's move on to the second point: health responsibility overload. When you remarry after the age of 70, you're not just sharing your heart. You're also signing up for someone else's health journey, whether you realize it or not. At this stage in life, health isn't a minor topic. It's a primary concern that comes to the forefront every single day. You've likely spent many years caring for others, your children, perhaps your spouse, and even aging parents. Now, just as you're ready to focus on your own well-being, remarriage can thrust you back into the role of caregiver. Let's be honest. By the time we reach our 70s, many of us are already juggling our own medical appointments, medications, and dietary adjustments. You might be managing arthritis, high blood pressure, or diabetes. These are significant issues that require attention and energy. When you add a new partner to your life, particularly someone who might have even more complex health needs, you suddenly find yourself responsible not only for your own health, but for theirs as well. This means more appointments, additional medications to manage, and an increased emotional burden. It may start off small. Perhaps your new spouse forgets to take their medications or needs assistance getting in and out of bed. But eventually, that little bit of help can escalate into round-the-clock care, putting a strain on you both physically and emotionally. What many people don't discuss is how this type of caregiving can actually shorten your own lifespan. Research has shown that elder caregivers often neglect their health, skipping checkups, eating poorly, and becoming socially isolated. Why? Because they're focused entirely on the other person, often at the expense of their own well-being. This was precisely what happened to a woman named Patricia, whom I met at a senior community center. She remarried at 76, and initially it felt like a dream. Her new husband was charming and funny. However, within a year, he suffered a minor stroke. And suddenly, Patricia found herself lifting him, bathing him, and managing his physical therapy schedule, all while ignoring her own knee pain and declining vision. By the time she sought help, she was exhausted, depressed, and on the verge of collapse. Her spirit dimmed, not due to love, but because of the unspoken expectations that came with it. Now, here's the hard truth. As much as we want to support someone we love, we cannot pour from an empty cup. Your energy is precious, especially at this stage of life, and it needs to be safeguarded. While remarriage may appear as an invitation to joy, without clear boundaries, it can quietly evolve into a long-term health responsibility you never intended to take on. So before you say, "I do" again, ask yourself, am I ready to take on another person's health needs? Today, tomorrow, and every day after that. If you hesitate even slightly, honor that feeling. Your well-being is just as important as anyone else's, if not more so at this point in your life. If you're still with me and finding these insights useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're engaged. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and click the bell icon so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support allows us to keep creating valuable content to help and inspire you. Let's keep going. The third point I want to address is legal complications. One of the most overlooked risks of remarriage, after age 70 isn't just emotional. It's legal. Many seniors don't realize that entering a new marriage can create a tangled web of financial and legal issues that could have long-lasting effects, not just for you, but for your children and grandchildren as well. Let's start with inheritance. You may have spent a lifetime building a legacy, whether it's a modest home, a savings account, or a few cherished heirlooms. You likely have beneficiaries chosen and a will prepared. But the moment you remarry, everything can shift. In many states, a new spouse has legal rights to a significant portion of your estate, regardless of what your will states. This means your children could end up receiving less, or even worse, find themselves embroiled in legal disputes after you're gone. And it's not just about inheritance. Remarriage can also impact your Social Security benefits, particularly if you're receiving survivor benefits from a deceased spouse. Many women who were married for decades to their first husbands qualify for survivor benefits that provide a steady income. However, marrying again, even for companionship, can reduce or eliminate those benefits. That's money you might be relying on, suddenly gone because of a new marriage certificate. Then there are medical decisions and power of attorney to think about. If you experience an accident, an illness, or a sudden hospitalization, your new spouse may automatically become your legal decision maker. Even if your adult children know your wishes better or are more qualified to handle such situations, they could be legally sidelined. If your new partner has a strained relationship with your children, the consequences can be heartbreaking. Take Carol's story, for example. At 81, she remarried a man she met at church, thinking they would simply enjoy each other's company in their later years. But when she fell ill, her new husband had the legal authority to make decisions that her daughter completely disagreed with. They ended up in court, not only fighting over medical choices, but also over who would inherit the house Carol had intended to leave to her grandchildren. Carol once remarked, "I thought I was finding comfort in my last years, but I created a mess I never meant to." Many older women, especially those who have worked tirelessly to create a secure life, don't want to consider legalities when love or loneliness enters the picture. But that's exactly when clear thinking is most crucial. Remarriage is not just a personal choice, it's a legal contract with far-reaching consequences. At this stage in life, clarity and foresight are your best allies. It's not unromantic to ask tough questions, it's wise. And it's a loving act, both for yourself and for the family that has stood by your side for so many years. If you value your legacy, your peace of mind, and your family's well-being, don't underestimate the legal complexities that can arise when you remarry. What may seem like a fresh start can sometimes lead to unforeseen chaos. Next, let's discuss the fourth point: loss of personal freedom. After reaching the age of 70, the one thing you've truly earned, more than any money or accolades, is your freedom. The freedom to wake up when you want, eat what you like, and spend your days as you choose. You've spent decades caring for others, adhering to rules, and making sacrifices. Now it should be your time, but remarriage can quietly take that freedom away, often faster than you could have imagined. When you marry in your younger years, compromise is a natural part of the equation. You're building a life together, making decisions as a team. But by the time you reach your 70s, your routines, habits, and preferences are often firmly established. You know what brings you peace, what keeps you healthy, and what kind of company you enjoy. Introducing someone new into that well-balanced rhythm can feel less like a joy and more like a disruption. Let's be honest, by this point in life, most people are set in their ways, and there's no shame in that. You've earned the right to enjoy your life as you see fit. But living with someone else again means relinquishing some of that autonomy. Perhaps your new partner likes to keep the TV on all day long, while you prefer the tranquility of quiet mornings with your newspaper. Or maybe they expect 3 hearty meals daily, while you've become accustomed to a lighter, more flexible routine. These differences can seem minor at first, but they can quickly accumulate, wearing down your patience and transforming your peaceful home into a space of subtle tension. Additionally, there's the emotional labor that comes with any close relationship: listening, adapting, and explaining. You might find yourself spending more time managing your partner's feelings, coordinating activities, or dealing with their family dynamics than engaging in the things that bring you joy. Before you know it, your hobbies are shelved, your alone time becomes a precious rarity, and the independence you cherished begins to slip away little by little. Let's consider Florence's experience. At 76, she remarried after being alone for 5 years. Initially, she relished the companionship, the shared meals, the strolls in the park, and having someone to converse with in the evenings. However, as time went on, she realized she had sacrificed her quiet mornings, her solo vacations, and even her control over the thermostat. She once told me, "I didn't mind compromising when I was younger, but now every little change feels like a loss." This doesn't imply that companionship is a negative thing or that love diminishes with age. Instead, it raises an important question. Are you genuinely ready to transition from freedom back to shared decision-making? Because at this stage of life, peace and personal space might be more precious than partnership. Some may argue that love demands sacrifice, and perhaps it does. But in your 70s and beyond, you've already made plenty of sacrifices. You deserve relationships that respect your pace, your comfort, and your freedom, not ones that require you to relinquish them once more. If you're still here and finding value in these insights, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're engaged. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and click the bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Your support is essential for us to continue creating valuable content to help and inspire you. Now let's address the 5th point: financial entanglement. Remarrying after the age of 70 may provide emotional companionship, but financially, it often opens a door to unexpected stress, confusion, and long-term vulnerability. In your 30s or 40s, merging your life and finances with someone else makes sense. You're building together, saving together, and planning for a future that feels a long way off. But in your 70s, the game has fundamentally changed. You're no longer in the business of building. You're focused on protecting what you've dedicated your life to acquiring. It's important to recognize that money in later life is about more than just numbers in a bank account. It symbolizes your security, independence, and choices. When you remarry, your financial world doesn't merely expand, it merges. This means your assets, social security benefits, pensions, and even debts could become shared, depending on the legal structure of your marriage. Unless every detail is meticulously planned and documented beforehand, it's easy to lose control over your finances. Here's where things can get complicated. Let's say your new spouse has children from a previous marriage. What happens to your assets if something were to happen to you? Will your estate go to your children, or will it benefit theirs? Without proper legal protection, like updated wills, prenuptial agreements, or clear estate plans, you might leave behind a tangled legal mess that could sow discord among those you love most. Such conflicts can tear families apart. Consider this scenario. You've worked tirelessly to pay off your home, and you're living comfortably on your retirement savings. But your new spouse comes into the relationship with unpaid debts or financial habits that clash with yours. Maybe they want to lend money to their children or rack up credit card debt. Suddenly, your carefully built nest egg is exposed. And with just one signature or shared account, the foundation you've established can begin to crumble. I once spoke with a man named Gerald, who was 82 when he remarried after losing his first wife. He didn't think much about the financial aspects. He believed love would sort everything out. But within 2 years, he found himself paying off his new wife's unpaid medical bills, supporting her adult son, and eventually selling the vacation home he had intended to pass down to his own daughter. "I just wanted companionship," he told me, "but I ended up giving away half my life." Now, this isn't to suggest that remarriage is always a financial risk. However, it does mean that without careful planning, transparent conversations, and protective legal measures, your finances could be at far greater risk than you realize. And at this stage in life, you don't have the same leeway for mistakes that you once did. So ask yourself, do I have the energy, clarity, and time to manage a complicated financial merging? Am I ready to safeguard not just my heart, but my estate, legacy, and the people I care about? If you feel even the slightest sense of uncertainty, you owe it to yourself to pause, reflect, and seek guidance before making such a permanent decision. At this point in life, you deserve to feel secure, not stretched thin. As we reach our final thoughts, consider this. By the time we hit our 70s and beyond, we've weathered storms that most people will never experience. We've faced love and loss, made sacrifices and celebrated joys, and shared both silence and laughter. With each passing year, we begin to view life not in terms of what we can gain, but rather in terms of what we no longer need to carry. That's why remarriage at this stage isn't simply a matter of companionship. It's a deeper, more personal choice about how you wish to spend the precious years you have left. Some of you watching might be thinking, "But I'm lonely. I want someone to grow old with." That feeling is entirely valid. Human connection is vital at any age. However, the truth is that companionship doesn't have to stem from another marriage. It can blossom from strong friendships, meaningful family relationships, community connections, or even from within yourself. The type of connection that truly nourishes your soul doesn't always require a wedding ring. We've been conditioned to believe that being partnered means being complete. But what if you're already whole? What if this time in your life isn't about merging with someone else, but rather about returning to yourself? It can be about finding joy in your own company, enjoying the freedom of not having to explain yourself, and not having to conform to someone else's expectations. That's not loneliness, that's liberation. I've talked to many older women who remarried,